Good evening, everyone. Thank you to Stand with Asian Americans, not just for organizing this event, but for continuously fighting for our AAPI communities and supporting organizations and people who are out there doing the work. I'm grateful to be here today as an Asian American woman myself, as the daughter of immigrants, to be given this platform. Being able to take up space in the middle of New York City is something that as a child I had never thought possible for our community. So it's a beautiful thing to be a part of this event. To be here alongside artists, elected officials, and activists truly embodies how, as Asian Americans, we continue to give so much in so many different fields. Today, on the second anniversary of the Atlanta spa shootings, we mourn for and honor the lives that were taken from us. We mourn not just those 8 lives, but all the other people, named and unnamed, who have been attacked or killed out of ignorance, fear, racism, and xenophobia. We are here today both grieving the people who will never have the chance to grow old, but also celebrating everything we are as Asian Americans and everything that we bring to our communities. I'm proud to be a part of a community that continues to fight back against hate, a community where solidarity and collective action is growing, where a movement is building. In my adult life, I've seen our communities rally after 9/11, fight against the Muslim ban during the last administration, rise up against anti-Asian hate in this pandemic. The reservoirs of strength that our AAPI community has are unimaginably deep. As Executive Director of Sapna NYC, I'm so often asked to describe the women in our community, and each time the first word that comes to mind is resilient. These women face violence often in their homes, they face violence in the street, and they face violence through institutions and systems. Yet, they rise time and time again. They thrive in the face of adversity, and that refusal to give up and the commitment to still create beautiful lives is their quiet rebellion. They take care not only of themselves, but of their families and their communities. But I don't want resilient to be the word that defines us. Our women and our communities should not have to be so resilient. They shouldn't have to shoulder so many burdens and experience so much trauma. They deserve to be described as beautiful, intelligent, creative, and exuberant. They deserve to live lives that are not defined by trauma and hate, but by joy, celebration, and community. AAPI history is American history. We are not new here. Our history predates American independence. As early as 1765 and through the 1800s, Filipino sailors who worked on Spanish galleons jumped ship in the Gulf of Mexico and established the first Filipino-American communities in what is now Louisiana. Beginning in the 1850s, young single men were recruited as laborers from southern China to work as miners, railroad builders, farmers, factory workers, and fishermen. By 1870, Chinese people represented 20% of California's labor force, playing a vital role in the development of this country. AAPI history in the US has long been ignored and is seldom taught, neither how we helped shape this country, nor how our communities have been targeted time and time again. Our history in the United States is long, but so is the history of hate against our communities. Some of us may have been taught about the Chinese Exclusion Act and Japanese internment camps, but we are never taught about the 1887 Hell's Canyon massacre, where 34 Chinese miners were murdered and mutilated, the 1907 Bellingham riots, where Indian laborers were viciously attacked, the 1913 California Alien Land Act that limited Japanese land ownership, or the brutal 1982 killing of Vincent Chin. So often in response to anti-Asian violence, there is a failure to name it for what it is, a hate crime. And we hear, that isn't what America is. But the reality is that there is an over 150-year-old history of anti-Asian racism and violence in the United States. There have always been people trying to make us feel as though we don't belong. But we as Asian Americans have more than earned our place here through literal blood, sweat, and tears. The AAPI community is now 18% of the New York City population, with communities spread across all 5 boroughs. Our communities are diverse, from Japan to Bangladesh to the Caribbean. Yet we are all connected through shared histories, cultures, and experiences. Our different stories woven together into the fabric of New York City. Asian-owned businesses account for nearly a quarter of all businesses citywide. Everything we love about New York City relies on AAPI New Yorkers. We keep New Yorkers clothed, with over 40% of workers in apparel manufacturing and 30% of personal and laundry service workers being Asian. We power self-care with 20% of health and personal care store workers being Asian. We push policies forward with 12% of New York City Council being Asian. We literally feed and move New Yorkers, with approximately a quarter of food industry workers and a quarter of transportation workers being Asian. New York City doesn't run without the AAPI community. We're essential in healthcare. We are essential in healthcare, education, hospitality, transportation, security, childcare, leadership, and everything in between. Anti-Asian hate is an attack against our communities, but it is also an attack against the entire city. We must organize together, fight together, live together, and only then can we truly thrive together. Thank you.